All right, you're welcome to our conversation on low libido or sex drive. Loss of libido or sex drive is a common problem affecting up to 1 in 5 men. Those are statistics I got from the UK, and even more in women, they say, at some point in their life. Loss of sexual desire is women's biggest sexual problem, I also understand. So it's good that we go into the issues, and it's a conversation for all of us. Men, you can get involved in it as well, because if the drive is low, doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter the gear you put it in, it just will not run. My guest is Dr. Akaba, who is a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist with the Lekma Hospital. Okay, good morning to you. I hope I got everything right.
Yes, you did.
Okay, so can I start by asking what low sexual desire is?
Oh, okay. So low sexual desire or low libido, as you mentioned what libido is from the beginning, that it's libido, as the term stands, it means that a sexual drive. That's the meaning of libido, sexual drive. And it's actually a term that was coined by a psychiatrist called Sigmund Freud.
Okay.
I'm sure you came across his name in your research, and I'm just emphasizing that he is a psychiatrist, or he was a psychiatrist, because it has psychiatry and psychotherapy play a big role in the therapy.
Okay.
So libido is a term that stands for sexual drive, and low libido means that the drive is low, or the desire for sex is low.
Yes. What happens? I mean, how can it get low suddenly?
Oh, okay. The libido is a result of an interplay of factors. There are 3 main things: biological factors, psychological factors, and social factors. So it's an interplay of all these, and they are all very important things. You ask yourself, how do you get libido? When you take the human body, all the things we do, especially with respect to reproduction and sex and all that, as a result of hormones. When we say hormones, hormones are certain chemicals that the body produces. And it starts, before hormone production starts, the brain has to recognize the need for it and then send messengers to other parts of the body for the hormones to be produced. And when it comes to libido or sex drive, the main hormone that is responsible for that is a male hormone, which is called testosterone. Even though it's a male hormone, females also produce that. You understand? There's a part of the female called the ovary. The ovary is where the eggs come from in a female. So the ovary also produces testosterone, which is a male hormone, but it has functions that it plays in the female body. So mainly libido is attributed to this hormone testosterone. There are other hormones that support, like the female hormone, which is estrogen. It also supports in this sex drive. There are other hormones called dopamine that also help in this sex drive. So the biological factor for libido is that all these hormones should be at a certain level in the body.
Okay.
Once these levels, anything that would affect the production of these hormones, they reduce. Once the production goes down, libido also goes down. And then in addition to these biological things, I talked about the second thing, which is the psychological aspects. In the beginning, I said that it is even a term that was coined by a psychiatrist. So you know that it has a lot of, psychiatry plays a role, or the psychological aspect plays a role in libido.
So could it be that maybe sometimes you have taken your mind off sex, that's why you're not getting the drive?
Yes, it's good. There are so many reasons. If you just take the taking your mind off is part of the psychological problem. If you are even in a relationship that you are not happy with your partner, it affects your mind. So in a way you switch off. If you are in an environment which is not suitable, like let's say you are in an environment where even bright light has been shown to affect libido. Even
Yeah.
excessive sound has been shown to affect libido.
Maybe sometimes there could be a problem with the bed that you simply don't like.
Exactly. So the environment also plays a role. I spoke about the social factors, even like the home, other things like relationships, all other things can affect libido.
Do you, I don't know, maybe in your practice, do you find a lot of women coming forward with this kind of problem?
Well, it's in my practice, I don't see that many, but that is not to say that the problem does not exist. When you take things to do with, let's say, sexuality, especially in our environment, we are typically like we are kind of inhibited in a way. Even when you come to infertility, patients come to you and they have a legitimate problem like infertility, but they cannot even come and just say that I have infertility, I need help. They would kind of go around the bush and they'll go in circles before you would have to guide them. So when it comes to libido, I'm sure the problem really exists, but women would not kind of find it too comfortable to come to you, a doctor, and the main presenting complaint is low sex drive, you understand? I remember my friend's husband was complaining to me. Well, he said it in a kind of jovial way that, like, this is your friend, she doesn't desire sex at all. So I went to her, I was talking. As soon as I mentioned that, her response, do you speak Ghana?
Yes, I can understand.
Yes, she said, sex, you're coming nearby. You get it. So it's something that even if a patient would come in my practice, a few patients who have come to inquire, they don't just come and say, I have low sex drive. They would kind of go round and round before they settle or zoom on that problem. So I'm sure it is a problem out there, but we are probably underestimating it.
Yeah. Okay, so this is what we're going to do, because, you know, we can't see your face. You can ask all the questions you want to ask in relation to this particular subject of low sex drive. You can WhatsApp me your questions on 0560 800 000. That's 0560 800 000. Or you can do so on facebook.com/Joy News on TV. Keep those comments coming through, and then I'll pass it on to our doctor, who will try and help us. We'll also open the phone lines along the line, 0302-211-69102. Okay. So, can you have this kind of problem and not know?
Well, you can have the problem, not know. You can have the problem, not know as you would know. I mean, you would know that you have the problem, but maybe you may not associate any importance to it. So as for knowing that you have a low sex drive, you would know, but you may tend to ignore it, or you may not attach the importance it deserves to it.
Okay. Can men recognize it early?
Oh yes, men, if you are in a relationship and every time you have to have sex, you show this apathy, you are not involved in all that, men should be able to recognize that early.
So when it happens that way, what do you think the men should do?
When it happens to men, or when men detect it
to
women.
If it's happening to you because, you know, maybe you're just not feeling for it, and that's how you are defining it.
Yes.
That's what you're saying to yourself.
No sexual drive.
But when it's persistent, the man would realize it. How can they help? Can they help?
Yes, they can help, because when it comes to low libido, one might think that, oh, what's the big deal? But it is a very important thing, because even when you take WHO, that's the World Health Organization, when you take their definition of sexual activity, it's a state of like physical, mental, and well-being in relationship to sexual activity. It is a measure of like a quality of life. That's what WHO, that's how much the importance WHO puts to it. That it is a measure of the quality, like your quality of life. So when it comes to libido, it's something that is not right for any relationship like for, let's say, the man to say that, oh, the woman doesn't want to have sex and let's leave it, it's not critical, because it's something that really affects relationship. Yeah. If your man comes, you are not, like, you don't want to have sex, you have a low sex drive, and you just let it go, it is not, it affects the relationship ultimately, and you may drive the man to seek sex elsewhere, and which would also increase your risk of sexually transmitted diseases and all that. So it is something that once a man detects it, he should see that it is a relationship, it's going to affect the relationship, and should be able to help. He can help by kind of giving support to the woman, trying to understand, trying to tell the woman that it is not something that's like he's going to blame the woman for it. He should. But
you know, often that's what happens.
Exactly. The man might think that
you're just not giving
lazy,
exactly,
or you are just making excuses and all that. But like you said, if it really persists, when it comes to libido, I mean, it has its own even natural fluctuation in a woman. We can talk about that later. Even that if you take a woman, there are times when the libido peaks naturally. It correlates with your menstrual cycle. There's a time when the
so
libido peaks.
What time is that?
So you remember I talked about testosterone. When you take the woman, a normal woman, in a month, we have a time when, if all things are fine, there's a time when you ovulate. So 2 days before ovulation and 2 days after ovulation, around that time, testosterone peaks. Testosterone actually peaks day 13 after your menses, using day 1 of your menses as day 1. You understand? So day 13 in women, testosterone peaks. So 2 days before ovulation and 2 days after ovulation, so that is around mid-cycle, testosterone goes up. So around that time, women naturally or physiologically should have high libido. You understand? That's in women. And then women too, during breastfeeding, because of high, there's a hormone called prolactin that helps the baby to feed. Once that prolactin is high, testosterone goes down, and what happens is that your libido also goes down. So those are natural things. So the man should understand. You understand? But then if it persists, then the man should see that we are in this together. It is not just like the woman wanting to give excuses, but you can help the woman. There are things you can do. You can. The first thing is to let the woman know that you understand, so that it will put the woman at ease. Because
but this is what I'm thinking. Before the man can come to that point of understanding you, you must also be able to know what you're going through.
Exactly.
So that, you know, he can, if it's empathy or if it's support that you need, he can do that.
Yes.
But I've realized that not a lot of women understand this when they're going through it. I mean, people wouldn't say, this is what I'm experiencing, like this is what I'm going through, this is a challenge. So if you are not able to identify it as a woman, how can the man even understand?
That's true. So I guess this is what it's also, you want to kind of seize opportunities to educate women that if you're having low sex drive, occasionally you may have that, but especially like after ovulation. Like when I say ovulation, you expect ovulation at mid-cycle, like in the middle, let's say about 14 days after your cycle, you expect ovulation. After that, you physiologically or naturally, your sex drive should go down. You understand? It's a kind of normal thing. But if you realize that persistently, every time you just don't feel for sex, the drive is so low, you should not just overlook it and say that sex is not critical. Right? Well, if I feel like I have sex, if I feel like, no, you should realize that once it is persisting, you should realize that it is becoming a problem, and it has a potential to affect your relationship. So you should not be on the defensive. You should even discuss with your partner that, oh, you think that it is now becoming something that is persisting. So you may have to seek some help.
Yeah.
You understand?
Okay. Let me, because we're getting a lot of messages, so, you know, I'll be asking some of the things that people are asking as well. This is from Steve from Afaja to South. He says, Mamavi, please help me ask doctor, what also leads to increased libido? Because, this my paddy can't go a day without it. Okay, so this is the opposite of it. How can I kick out this low libido wahala? It's killing me. So is it high or low you're talking about? What also leads to increased? Yes, so he's talking about the increase.
Oh, okay.
Can it happen that way?
For increased
That,
increased
you know, you want to
libido.
have sex like every day
You mean for women or for everybody?
for everybody?
Oh, it can happen that way. We have, there's a term called hypersexuality. And like I said, men naturally have very high testosterone. They have as high as like 40 times more testosterone than women.
So they can do it every day?
Yes, if so to speak. They have very high levels of testosterone. Just about last week, this very young lady, a 14-year-old girl, was raped by somebody, and they brought her to my consulting room. And somehow the rapist, the girl's father had actually caught the rapist, and they brought him along to the hospital. And you can imagine, I have very zero tolerance for rape, sexual abuse. So I was so furious, and as I was talking, the man said, "Hey, doctor, keep quiet. You don't understand emotions." Yes, that's what he said. So you can imagine, I mean, when it comes to, once the testosterone level is very high, it is a drive. So,
but can they control themselves? I mean, that's why we're human.
Yes, so they should be able to control themselves. Everybody should be able to control himself. Otherwise, you cannot just get up and say that because my hormones are high, I'll just do whatever I want to do. If you think that your sex drive exceeds what is normal, you should be able to seek therapy. Because then again, you could even have a tumor, which is just producing testosterone. So it's not just for you as a man, or for you to sit down and say, I have very high sex drive and that is it, I'll just utilize it. Any person I get, I just grab and have sex. No, you understand? You should seek some help.
All right, here's another question. Hello, is there any food that can affect your libido?
Yes, there are lots of foods. There are lots of foods that can affect libido negatively and positively. The negative ones are these high fatty foods, all these fast food, the fried rice, all those cholesterol-laden, fat-laden foods can reduce libido. But there are foods too that can also improve libido, like banana. And we have banana all around us. Banana is very good. Salmon has been shown to be good. Avocado, pear, so oysters, seafood, all those things increase libido. There are some herbs that increase libido, even eggs. So many things around can increase libido.
Okay. This one is from Nana in Aguna Dunkwao. Says, please, what causes headache after sex and how can it be treated? And then on the libido, he says, can religious factors and individual values affect one's libido?
Yes, very much so. Headaches after sex can be caused by, headaches just means that you have a lot of, headaches after sex means that you have a lot of blood flow kind of rushing into the brain. You understand? And during sex, there's a lot of physical activity increases. There's a lot of blood flow shunting. Wherever, when you take the human body, wherever there's a need, the body has been designed in such a way that, or God has made it in such a way that if any part of the body needs help, that help is sent to the body and the other places are sacrificed, sort of. So when you have, let's say you're having sex, a lot of blood flow goes to all those, the genitals. So you can have a kind of reduced blood flow to the other less vital organs. And a place like the brain is one of the vital organs. You wouldn't critically have low, low blood flow, but the blood flow will be reduced, affecting, that can cause headaches.
So does it mean in that sense that maybe you're doing it too often or you're doing it too hard or something?
Not that you're doing it too often, but people have died. I'm sure you've heard of people actually dying during sex. People having cerebrovascular accidents is a stroke. In the layman's language, is a stroke. People having strokes after during sex. It's all to do with this kind of shunting of blood. That's the term we use, shunting. Shunting means that you take blood from other places to where it is most needed. So if you keep having persistent headaches, it's not a very good sign. You need to go and see a physician for your blood pressure and all that to be checked for you.
Yeah, you don't
Because
you don't want to die like that.
Exactly, exactly, and it's
okay. This one says, "Good morning."
And then, no, I didn't answer the second part.
The religious factors.
Yes, religious factors play a role. Religious factors play a big role because, like I mentioned earlier on, the psychological aspects of libido is very important. Even the term itself was coined by psychiatrists and some psychoanalysts. So, your religion. I mean, if let's say, I'll just give an example. Contraception, for instance, has been shown to, combined oral contraception, has been shown to reduce libido in some people. And in other people too, it's kind of increases libido. Why? Because the fact that in your mind, you know that you're not going to get pregnant, kind of puts your mind at peace. So you can kind of like
you're free,
relaxed,
you're just doing it.
Yes. In the same way, religion plays a role. Religion, I think all the religions, I am a Christian, so I can speak for Christianity. The Bible has clear guidelines on sex. If you are not married, you are not supposed to have sex. So if you are a very religious person and you are not married to somebody and you are having sex, obviously it is, even you know that it is contrary to your religion.
So you know you're guilty in the process.
You don't even, yes, you'll be feeling very guilty. So it's kind of, it has, religion plays a role. Yes, religion plays a role here. And
or when you know the person you're doing does not belong to you.
Exactly. Exactly. So religion plays a role here. If you're a very religious person, obviously your mind will not be at peace if the circumstances or the partner is not a partner that is approved by your religious standards.
How about stress?
Stress plays a very, very big role. Stress, because anything that would not put your mind at peace, even work stress, even if you are in a relationship where you are not happy, you're always stressed out, you are tired from work, any form of stress plays a role in reducing libido. Anything that will not put your mind at peace will reduce libido. But somehow, or paradoxically, in men, a way to kind of, it's been shown that for men, a way for them to release stress is rather to have sex. It kind of increases their libido in a way. But for women, typically, stress plays down. Stress just puts your mind under tension and it reduces libido. It's been shown beyond doubt.
Sure. Here's another question. What's the cause of this problem? After my first round of sex, the urge is there, but don't feel for the act again.
After the first round, okay. So there's even, when it comes to libido, even sometimes when you're in a relationship, your partner, your husband, just because it's like you've been a kind of familiarity with a person, even reduces libido. It's been shown that people have had low libido, and if they go away for a while as part of like treatment, there's a resumption of whatever, like the way they feel. So if you've had one round of sex, it's like that you have that familiarity with the person. It's all part of it's all the psyche. So it's possible. That is why it's all.
So how do you get your jiggy back on?
For a second round, you have to psych up your mind. You have to psych up your mind. There are things we use for treatment, but for a second round, it's
maybe sleep and wake up later and continue.
Exactly. You have to psych. You have to kind of say things, positive things to your mind. That maybe you have to psych up your mind.
Okay. Here's another question, and I can understand why you're not adding your name, so that's fine. Does erectile dysfunction result to low libido? And when one is suffering with low libido, what does he need to do?
Okay. So erectile dysfunction and libido, even though they are all related to sex, let's all take note that they are not the same things. Erectile dysfunction, as the word says, I think the erectile, everybody understands erectile, yes. Dysfunction means the ability for the penile organ to be erect is dysfunctioning or is not functioning well. That is what it means. And that is completely different from, you may have the desire may be there to have sex. You may have a very strong desire to have sex, but just that for the ability for the penis to rise and have that sex is not functioning well. But as for the desire, which is the libido, is there. So you understand, even though they are all sexual things, they are not the same. Erectile dysfunction is not synonymous to low libido.
Okay.
And please, what was the second part of the question? That what can you do?
Yes.
There are so many things you can do. There are things that you can do naturally. One of the things is you would have to like you have to do a lot of mental therapy, in that you're under a form of stress, you have to try and see the things that stress you out and reduce that stress. You have to, exercise has been shown to help a lot, especially bodybuilding, muscle building exercises. It's been shown to increase testosterone level. And obviously, I said, whenever testosterone goes up, your libido also goes up. So there are so many things you can. We talked about some foods earlier on.
Yes.
And then you have
mentioned
to.
the salmons
And one thing that has been shown to really reduce libido, alcohol, excessive alcohol. So if you drink excessive alcohol, you should know that it is detrimental to libido. So you'd have to cut down on your alcohol. Smoking is detrimental. So all those habits, you would have to cut down on them. Exercises help. And if you have a problem, let's say with even the performance itself, let's say if you are a woman and you have low libido, and it is as a result of maybe pain during sex, that can also, you may have pain during sex. So because of that, anytime you think of sex, it reminds you of pain. So immediately your brain just shuts off. So if you have any condition like that, you have to seek treatment. And there are things that you can also do to increase your testosterone.
I've heard about cashew nuts.
Cashew nuts, yeah. Nuts, cashew nuts, any nuts at all increase libido.
Okay.
Yes, it's one of the foods that increase libido.
No wonder they sell it in traffic.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's Atadri. And then you can also there are sex therapists in Ghana. Like I said, because libido, like it's kind of it's a problem, but people are not, they are kind of inhibited in a way to talk about the problem. It's even culturally, you wouldn't have people talking about, oh, I'm having low sex drive and all that, but there are sex therapists around who can help. And there are medications around to what the medications do.
So let me run this by you and see if there's some kind of medication. It's from a Kofu in Sawam. It says, my wife used to invite the game, but after just 3 bets, she has completely lost interest and will not participate no matter what you do. Is there any medicine to cure this?
So after 3 deliveries, she's just gone.
She's gone off.
Okay. So the thing, you remember, when it comes to women, testosterone level is affected by age, both even in men and women. Testosterone peaks at age 30. You understand? So when you take any woman, the time where you expect a woman to have very high libido is around age 30. And then after that, it starts declining. By age 60, it has declined, it has gone down very much. You understand?
Really?
And then as a woman approaches menopause too, even because of the drying of the vagina, because menopause means that the woman's hormones are going down. And one of the hormones that you remember I mentioned earlier on is estrogen, that it helps libido. Estrogen is the male-female, is the main female hormone. It is what makes us women, estrogen. So once you approach menopause, estrogen has gone down. So obviously your vagina is drying and all that affects your sex drive. And in addition to, as you age, other diseases to come up.
This contradicts something that I heard, that when you're aging, for the women, you know.
No. Sex, from literature, testosterone peaks at age 60. You understand? But then at age 30, then it starts declining. So that by age 60, testosterone has gone down. So what happens is that your libido also goes down.
Is it for the same, I mean, is it same for the men too?
For the men, the time of peaking and all that is also different. It's different.
Because sometimes women don't understand why they've got laptops and girlfriends hanging by them when they are so old.
But then, having said that, it's also been shown that for some women, during menopause, they tend to also have, generally during menopause, your sex drive goes down, and I explain, because your estrogen is low, you have drying of the vagina, and around menopause, to some diseases also come up because you are aging. So that's when you have the cardiovascular diseases, and you have all those like cancers and all those things. So once you have all those diseases, medical conditions affect libido negatively. But then it's been shown that in some women, because even though they are menopausal, they tend, just in a percentage of women, but generally you expect low libido during the menopausal years.
Okay.
Yes, but in some women, that's why I'm just stressing on some. It's been shown that they tend to kind of have like increased libido around the time.
So that will be, you know, like exceptions.
Exception is an exception.
Okay.
It's an exception.
All right. Hi, I'm Malik from Boko. Please, I want to know if you're a guy that easily gets wet when you are with your partner or maybe a lady so close to you. What will you do to stop it?
If you are a guy and that means you easily get kind of aroused.
Yes.
When you are with
either your partner or somebody that you like.
Then that is also getting to an extreme form. So maybe you need to seek some therapy. Like I said, one of the things, if you are if you have a form of hypersexuality, don't just assume that it is a man thing, because it could also mean that your body is overproducing the hormone, and it could be a tumor. When I say tumor can end up being a cancer. So you need to seek help. Okay. It's always better to make sure that you don't have any medical problem than just assume that it is just a male thing.
I've got a question from Mark, but I guess it will be the same thing. He says, please, what should I do? I know I have so much high sex drive. So I guess it will be the same from the doctor. Try and seek some help. This one says, good morning. Please, I'm a lady of 25 years and have never enjoyed sex before, even though I'm having it. And this makes me feel uncomfortable as well as my man. Please, how can I overcome it?
Okay. So her question is enjoyment. She didn't really say libido, because they are two different. You may have the drive, you may have the desire, but when you get into the act, you don't enjoy it. So I hope that
it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Okay.
From her question, I get the impression that she has a drive, she has a desire, but then when she's kind of in the act, there's no enjoyment. Fun. So that means that probably she's not achieving orgasm and all that. So the best thing really is to go to a sex therapist, and they are available in this country. They are underutilized.
Okay. Otherwise, I'm thinking that maybe it's something that the man is not doing right as well.
So, sex therapy involves both parts. It's not something that involves just you as like an individual. Your partner will be involved. So they'll get the best of care as a couple.
All right. Here's another one from Malfomo in Takrade. It says, low libido in our parts of the world could be attributed to the perception that women don't initiate the move or ask for sex. They try to kill it or switch off their mind on sex. This continuously could result in low libido. Doctor, is this true or false? That's what she's asking.
It's very true. No, it's very true. Like, you remember we talked about the social. We said there are three things that contribute to libido: the biological, the psychological, and then the social. Within our context, I mean, the culture, nobody can downplay our cultural, the cultural context within which we all live. You cannot, it's almost like, even for you to go and sit in front of a doctor to go and say that my main presenting complaint is low sex, it's like you're afraid that the doctor will look at you with a jaundiced eye, all that, so you get it. So it's
But
very,
is that
very
your
true.
Mind as doctors?
Oh no, not really.
But you
really.
give out a laugh or something.
Oh no,
because
not
you're
really.
not expecting anybody to come and sit in front of you and tell
you. No, not really.
Doc, my problem this morning really is that I want to do it, but I'm just not.
But if you should be bold enough to come, every doctor should be able to accept, to be receptive. I mean, so you have to know, if you have a problem like this, your first port of call will be to see a gynecologist, and then the gynecologist would assess you, make sure there is no medical problem, and then if you need other counselors to come in, then he or she can direct you. But doctors, I can bet you, doctors will be very receptive of.
All right. Nana Kwesin Techiman is asking, can post-traumatic stress cause low libido, and what will be your advice?
Yes, absolutely. Anything that would cause stress, anything job related, anything, even immediately after delivery, all the stress and everything can cause reduced libido. So once you have anything like that, you need stress. What is the management for stress? You need to like kind of psych up your mind yourself. You need to do your own brain like teasing, or your own, you need to help your brain yourself, and then you need to seek care. There are people in Ghana, we don't use all this supportive care as much. Like if a patient comes and says, I'm stressed out about something, we probably would want to counsel the patient ourselves and let the patient go home. But in the westernized places, or in the better developed places, you can involve all these, like, how do I say, those who give the supportive care. You need to put all of them on board, and they are all available. You understand? So if you have, sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just, because you mentioned counselors, you know, our famous counselors, what we have available in Ghana would say the men should send the text messages and prepare the minds of the women. You know, if you want to do it this evening, you just don't go and jump on it in the evening. Try and prepare the mind of the woman. Those things, do they work when what you're experiencing really is low desire for sex?
Oh, they help. They help. They have a role to play. When you're managing a patient with low libido, there are so many other things apart from, like, before you even get down to treatment, all these things play a role. Even one of the things you want to do is to actually, like, kind of do your own investigation and see what turns the woman on. Like, maybe there are things that you see maybe the woman likes. You understand? So all these text messages and all that, what do? They work on the brain. You understand? Like making the woman feel very good about herself. Because even one of the things...
Can I say this? And I know that I'm on TV, but I don't like that. I mean, it's like, what? If it's something that you do every day, I can understand.
Fine,
but if it's just once in a while, like, you know...
It sounds a bit like for your selfish gain, sort of. Anyway, you have a point there, but the whole thing is, when it comes to low libido, it's not just the individual, it's a couple thing. It's a problem of the couple. Like I said, it really affects relationship. So it's... maybe you may not be doing it, so that means that our men too should learn they should learn to kind of...
Sometimes they are too straight and too stiff, you know, be flexible.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. So
instead of the message, maybe send lunch or something.
Exactly, lunch, flowers, not just messages, but anything, flowers, like surprise your woman positively. You know, there are things that, like this WhatsApp, you have messages on where men have tried to surprise their women, and their women are completely taken aback, and they're like, no, what do you want? What do you really want? The women are kind of even apprehensive. They're kind of, hey, this flowers that you sent, is it, what do I owe this rather dubious kind of favor?
I know there are people who would say, was this meant for me, or you are sending it to some chick?
Exactly. So it's like you said, the men should reflect. It should be a kind of part of the everyday life. It shouldn't be because, like, you shouldn't let your woman feel that because you want to have sex, that is why you are doing this. But they help in the therapy, and like all these things make them. You should let the woman feel good about herself, because, you know, even obesity in a woman has been shown to reduce libido. Because if you are obese, you kind of, some women who are obese tend to have like low self-esteem and all that. It doesn't mean that once you are obese you have low self-esteem. No, you need to love yourself. If maybe that is your size or something, obviously you would work on it for even health reasons. But if you are not achieving your targets rapidly, it doesn't mean that you should be depressed about it, because depression in itself also reduces libido.
Okay. All right. And I know that we're getting to wrapping up this conversation. I don't want you to go away, though. Sami from Praso says, I can see that my libido is too high because I can have sex even 5 times in the week. Is there a problem with me?
I think we've addressed this issue over and over again, but I just want to sound a bit of caution here that it's important, if you think it's excessive, to seek care. Because, like we talked about earlier on, everybody should be able to control himself. Because if you're not able to control yourself and you walk around saying that I have high libido, and that forces you to do things which are not right, it will land you in the wrong hands.
Sure. Steve from Amfuaga says, good morning. Please, anytime I have sex with my wife, she complains of pain after sex. So it puts me off. I don't feel like having sex with her. She has been to the hospital on many occasions. What should we do? Okay, so this is a different conversation altogether. Pain.
Pain during sex. In gynecological terms, we call it dyspareunia. There are so many things that can cause that. Even fibroids can cause that. So we have endometriosis, different things, gynecological problems that can cause that. So it is very important. He says they've been to hospital several times. The hospital several times, who really have they seen? Did they see the gynecologist? So it is important. Once the woman has pain, if they do not really address it well, very soon the woman, for now, he says that he's been put off. He is going off sex. Yeah. Very soon the woman herself would also go off sex because she would associate the sex with pain. Okay. So it is, they've been to hospital. But
so seek the right help.
Yes, seek the right help. Look for a gynecologist. Let the gynecologist examine her. There are gynecological problems that cause pain during sex. Okay. Otherwise, sex should not be painful to that extent.
This perhaps will be the last one. It says, honestly, I have same problem with my partner, and it's a big issue for me because I don't want to cheat on her. Please, I need more of the solutions. And please, can we see any specialist? It's from Kweku from Dodowa.
Okay. So it's a bit sad that, I mean, people are suffering out there. And like I said, maybe culturally, we are not that bold or that's disinhibited to walk up to a doctor and seek for help. But I just want to assure the public, I want to assure anybody listening to us that once you are able to come to hospital and see a gynecologist, no doctor would play down your presenting complaint. That is a complaint. It is worrying you. It's something that can affect your relationship. So they can seek help. They should first see a gynecologist if they are not satisfied with the care, or if that person downplays like the complaint. There are other gynecologists everywhere, in the government setting, in private setting, everywhere that you can see. But it is very important that they see somebody. The person would assess your wife. The person would have a chat with your wife, see what the problem is. It may be just something small that can even be solved at that level. But if the gynecologist thinks that she or he needs some more like supportive care, the person would send you to the right quarters.
Sure. Let me wrap up with this that somebody has sent. He says, my woman doesn't feel for sex and it seems I'm worrying her. What can I do? The situation is disturbing. Please advise me. Here's the point. The woman doesn't feel for sex.
So the woman has low libido.
Yes, but it's the man who is realizing this. Okay. How can you draw the woman's attention to the problem that she may be having?
Okay. So the woman has a problem, but it's not that she's not realizing it. Let's look at the circumstances. Maybe she comes back from work, she's tired, she has to do she's the same person who has to do everything in the house, and then in the evening she has to also like kind of offer her bits in bed. So all those things play a role. Even before then, she's tired. You get it? So if she herself is not recognizing that she has a problem, maybe you as the partner should find a way to let her see that this is becoming a problem. Of course, if you don't recognize that you have a problem, how can anybody help you? But unfortunately, this is a problem that does not just affect the individual. It affects the couple, and it even has it has a tendency to affect the relationship, and even affects all other members like the children, any other person. So he has to find a way in a very nice way, not in like a kind of accusing way. He has to find a way to let the woman know that there's a problem. And then again, I said before he even goes to discuss this issue with the woman, he himself should assess the situation. He should put himself in the shoes of the woman. He should see the woman's day. is this something that does he himself see that the woman is overburdened by other things?
Yeah.
You see, maybe the woman, like I said, the woman comes home, he is probably
tired.
watching TV and all that. She has to sort out the house quickly and she's already tired. All those things play a role. So he should also assess and see whether there's anything he can do to help the woman, like reduce stress on the woman. Then he can bring this up.
All right. So what I pick from that is men, help out. Help out. But somebody sends me a message that says, my wife feels for sex, Papa. Good for you. Keep enjoying it. But I'm grateful for your time. Thank you so much for your company and all that you've shared with us. I've picked my bits. Thank you. My guest, Dr. Na Oyo Akaba, consultant obstetrics and gynecologist with the Lekma Hospital. I always say this, we're grateful. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much to Dr. Linda Van Otu for all your support every time. Stay with us. When we come back, there's a question that we ask. What's your favorite city? What's your favorite city, please? It's World Cities Day tomorrow in Ghana.
My favorite city in Ghana.
Yes.
Yakosumbu.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. What's yours? We'll be going back to Facebook to check out what you've been posting. You're watching the AM show. Stay with us.